You grab butter to be safe. What if it's a lab-built oil spread dressed in yellow? You're in the right place. Today, we're exposing 8 fake US butter brands, by name, that swap real dairy nutrition for cheap vegetable oils, emulsifiers, and flavors. We'll start with the brand that leans on heart health vibes while using ingredients that experts link to higher LDL and inflammation. Stick around for 5 bonus secrets so you can spot butter spread loopholes, restaurant swaps, and light butter tricks before they hit your cart or your arteries. You spot the green leaves and a heart icon and your guard drops. Safer, right? That little symbol is often the first red flag, not a promise. It sells comfort while the fine print sells something else. Let's start with the PAS setup. Problem: you want heart help. Agitation: the label speaks in soft health language, cholesterol support, plant goodness, better for you vibes. Solution, or what looks like one. A spread that claims the right outcomes but hides cheap oils and lab tweaks that behave nothing like real butter once they hit your gut. You get the feeling of safety without the safety. Smart Balance leans hard on that play. The front shouts heart support. The back lists a cocktail of vegetable oils and added plant sterols. Those sterols sound helpful, and yes, they can trim LDL a notch. But here's the catch that gets buried. They also block some absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K, the fat-soluble ones people expect from real dairy fat. Seniors who already watch vitamin D and K are paying with nutrients they need. Now think about how this lands in real life. A morning toast habit. A thin smear becomes standard. Day after day, it's a steady drip of emulsifiers for texture and palm-based saturated fats to fake body. Not a treat, a routine. The label says heart, the intake says lab. It's like putting a lock on your vitamin door while bragging about the guard at the gate. The guard looks impressive. The lock keeps out what you actually need. There's also the legal line that trips people up. The FDA says butter has to be at least 80% milk fat. When the tub dodges that and calls itself a spread, it's often water plus oils plus additives. The mouthfeel is engineered. The nutrition is a downgrade. And the price? Often padded by marketing and those add-ins, not by better base ingredients. So you get the halo, the higher price, and the same industrial oils that brands reach for because they're cheap, shelf-stable, and easy to flavor. That's the playbook. Promise heart help. Deliver oil science. If you're thinking, fine, but which names ride that halo the hardest while leaning on the lowest cost inputs, you're asking the right question. The real kicker is how normal this has become. You expect butter to be dairy. They expect you to accept a formula. Brand number 5 on our avoid list, Smart Balance Original. Heavy on vegetable oils, boosted with plant sterols that can undercut vitamin uptake. That trade doesn't pay out the way shoppers think, especially for older adults who watch bone, eye, and immune health. Safer on the front. Compromised in the details. And if the front-of-pack heart sells comfort, the squeeze bottle sells convenience. Now let's move on to the shortcut that looks neat on the counter and hides a bigger cardiovascular threat in every squirt. A squeeze bottle looks tidy on the counter. What they don't tell you is that the shortcut often slides you straight to the one fat doctors warned you about for years. The label says easy. The ingredient list says slow down. Let's start with Parquet Squeeze. That panel reads like a chemistry set, not a creamery. You get partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil up front, along with soy lecithin, sodium benzoate, artificial flavor, and beta-carotene for color. None of that belongs anywhere near a churn. It is a lab build for spreadability and shelf life, not nutrition. Here's the real kicker. Partially hydrogenated oil means trans fats still lurk in the squeeze. Trans fats raise LDL and lower HDL. That is the double hit you do not want. And older adults feel it more because cholesterol management is already a tightrope. Swap a squeeze for a pat here and there, and the numbers drift the wrong way without a big, obvious change in your day. Now the design piles on. The bottle nudges you to oversquirt. You press for a dab and get a ribbon. Portion size creeps up the way ketchup turns fries into a side of sugar. Each extra squeeze means more trans fat, more cheap oil, more additives. The cap clicks. The dose climbs. And about that cottonseed oil. It is often a heavy spray crop. Think industrial field, not dairy pasture. You are buying a farm input that needs refining to be palatable, then more additives to mimic butter's natural body. That is a lot of steps between seed and toast. Those additives do work, just not in your favor. Emulsifiers like mono and diglycerides and soy lecithin glue water and oil so it feels creamy. Preservatives like sodium benzoate stretch shelf life and steady the color and flavor. Real butter does not need a science kit to taste like butter. When you need a preservative and an emulsifier to sell a mouthfeel, you are faking what cream gives for free. So which squeeze bottle buys you the most regret per press? The one that marries a trans fat source with a dispenser that makes restraint tough. That lands us on brand number 7, Parquet Squeeze. It gets flagged for partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil, the trans fat risk that raises LDL and lowers HDL, and a design that pushes you to use more than you planned. Easy squeeze. Harder arteries. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who keeps a bottle by the toaster. Now let's start peeling back the rest of the lineup, where butter taste is often code for soybean oil, palm, and palm kernel oil tuned with flavors. The tub looks familiar. The recipe reads staged. If the tub shouts butter taste, but leads with soybean oil and palm kernel oil, you already know the punchline. You are not buying dairy. You are buying a liquid oil blend in a yellow suit, tuned to spread cold and taste passable after a lab tune-up. Let's start with the shared formula. These tubs run on water first, then vegetable oils. Emulsifiers hold the emulsion so it does not break. Flavors do the heavy lifting so your tongue thinks butter showed up. Color adds the cue your eyes expect. It is engineered spreadability without dairy nutrition or the fat-soluble vitamins you associate with real butter. Here is the tension. Palm kernel oil brings saturated fat that pushes LDL up. Emulsifiers prop up texture that those oils cannot deliver. Flavors hide bean notes and the waxy feel of palm. You get a product that acts like butter on a knife, but not in your blood work. It is like stretching paint with water, then adding gloss to fake the shine. It looks smooth on the wall. It does not hold up. Research notes palm kernel oil is over 80% saturated fat, and repeated intake is linked with higher LDL. That is a steady nudge in the wrong direction, especially if the spread becomes the daily default. Now the lineup. Brand number 8, Blue Bonnet. Zero dairy. A base of soybean, palm, and palm kernel oils cut with water, then maltodextrin for bulk and artificial flavors to push butter. It is nutrient light and leans on additives to cover the gaps. Brand number 6, I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, keeps the wink while selling a soybean and palm blend. Emulsifiers like lecithin and mono and diglycerides stitch oil and water into a firm smear. Diet pros point out it is not a health upgrade over small amounts of real butter. Different source. Same issues. Brand number 4, Country Crock Original has no butter. It relies on palm kernel and palm oils for structure, then adds flavor and color. Formulas shift over time, which erodes trust and leaves you guessing what is in your tub this month. Brand number 3, Land O'Lakes fresh buttery taste spread trades on a trusted butter name but starts with vegetable oils. Heavy flavoring and mono and diglycerides do the texture work, while the label invites buyer confusion. That confusion is the feature, not the bug. Here is the mini payoff. Brand number 2, Imperial gets tagged for an ultra-processed build and a weak oil percentage padded with water and additives. You get preservatives, emulsifiers, and flavor chemistry standing in for food. Brand number 1, Kroger spreadable butter with olive oil lands last for greasy texture, oil separation, and poor value even with the olive oil halo. The look says premium. The jar says separation. So your avoid list is clear. These tubs share one playbook: water, cheap oils, emulsifiers, and flavor, then a bright label to sell you comfort. Now let us talk about the last twist seniors keep getting sold, where a light claim hides the same oils diluted and dressed up as a better choice. If the label says spread and leads with vegetable or palm kernel oil, you are buying texture science, not butter. The LDL bill comes later. Scan the first 3 ingredients. If you see palm kernel, or any partially hydrogenated oil, put it back. Check the word spread. Compare saturated fat to real butter, 6 to 7 grams per serving. If it matches, you lost the trade. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still keeps a squeeze bottle on the counter. Next, we will decode 5 butter secrets, from restaurant ramekins to light tubs and 3-second label tells.